नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वज्रायाणं नमो लोये सौवसाहुणम् अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today we will be doing this chapter of Panch Pandav. It is written by Acharya Jinsen. After Padma Puran, Harivansh Puran is the most widely read old historical treatise in the Jain community. Padma Puran is about the Ramayana, and then Harivansh Puran is all about the Pandavas and Kauravas and Krishna Bhagwan and Dronacharya and all this. There are 66 chapters and 12,000 slokas in it. The life of the 22nd Tirthankar Bhagwan Neminath has been vividly described in this Puran. So when this incident happened, the Krishna's cousin Tirthankar Neminath was present there, and there were questions asked in his Samosaran also, and he replied to those questions. Besides the stories of Krishna, Balbhadra and Kauravas and Pandavas have also been exquisitely narrated. So these are all has been very nicely narrated. The writer's name is Acharya Jinsen, and it is different from Bhagwan Jinsen Acharya, the writer of Mahapuran. So there is another Jinsen Acharya, and who coincidentally has written Mahapuran. So some may get confused, but it is not like that. Both are different. He was the Acharya of Punat Sangha. Punat is the old name of Karnataka. Okay. So the present day, it is Karnataka. Earlier it was Punat Sangh. This Sangh was active near Karnataka and Kathiawad for 200 years. Oh, you can see. The kingly order of Gujarat had a great faith and reverence for and in this Sangha. His preceptor or guru's name was Kirti Sen, and he completed this holy book in the Nanaraj Vasati it's a name of a mandir, okay? And there he stayed there and wrote this holy book of Vardhaman city in Vikrant Samvat 840. So that means if you compare it to the common era, it would be 783 CE or AD. No other work of this Acharya are available, and there are no references of other works in other treatises or in other scriptures. This great work, however, is sufficient for his never-ending fame and glory. The commentator of Harivansh Puran is the famous scholar Pandit Daulat Ramji Kasliwal of Jaipur. The present lesson is based on the said Harivansh Puran of Acharya Jinsen. For detailed information about the Pandavas, Harivansh Puran and Pandav Puran should be studied. So this was all about Acharya Jinsen. As you are aware that our Acharyas don't write anything about their personal lives, and they don't write it for fame or anything else. They just write it because they are now into Shubhopyog and they want to go to the Shuddhopyog, but still they are not able to go there. So by being in the Shubhopyog, they write all these kind of books. They give sermons also to the householder or anybody who is interested in listening to it. And they also give dikshas also. All these activities are carried out when they are in the 6th stage of spiritual development. Okay. So when they are in the 6th stage, all these kind of Shubha, auspicious sentiments do manifest, and because of that, all these activities are initiated. So now we read the chapter about the 5 Pandavas, and since nobody joined, so I started with chapter 5 Pandav, but anyways, at the end we will take up that homework. So who is this DDS?
Sir, me only Sashikala, sir. Sashikala.
So
because my phone has become some problem. I'm using some other iPad.
Okay, no problem. So Jinali ji, you can read the chapter, the 5 Pandavas, from the starting to half of next page. Okay. Bhim, Arjun, Nakul and Sardev are known as the Pandavas.
Okay. After Padam Puran, Harivansh Puran is the most widely read.
Oh, that has been done. You now go to the next page and the conversation between Suresh and Ramesh.
Okay. I shall not let you go today unless you return my money. Ramesh, why will you not allow me to go my way? Suresh, when you had no money, why did you gamble? Ramesh, I did it just by the way. Suresh, I don't want to listen to all this. Let me have my money. Ramesh, I have no money. How can I pay you back? Suresh, catching hold of the shirt. Then why did you pledge the amount? Teacher, Ramesh, Suresh, why are you fighting? Good boys do not fight like this. You should settle your matters peacefully. Ramesh, sir, Suresh is troubling me for nothing. Suresh, sir, why does he not pay me my money? Teacher, Ramesh, why don't you pay him his money? Good boys do not trouble others after borrowing money from them. You should have returned the amount without his asking and avoided such a situation. Ramesh, sir, when did I borrow any money from him? Teacher, then why does he demand it from you? Suresh, of course, He did not borrow money, but pledged the amount and was defeated. Why does he not pay the amount now? Teacher, so you indulge in gambling. Good boys do not gamble. Sir, Suresh, sir, I did pledge the amount, but did not gamble. Teacher, keeping victory and defeat in view, to play with money or some other kind of wealth, or to pledge the money and do such work on condition of payment of money, are all gambling. This is a very bad addiction. Those who fall a prey to this addiction disturb the worldly life, as also place a hurdle on the welfare of the soul. The very glorious Pandavas had to face many difficulties on account of indulging in gambling by playing the game of the die. Promise never to gamble by pledging money or wealth. Suresh, who were these Pandavas? Teacher, many years back, King Dhritaraj of Kuruvansh ruled in the city of Hastinapur of Kuru Jangal Desh in Bharatvarsha. He had 3 queens, Ambika, Ambalika, and Amba. The 3 queens gave birth to Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidur respectively. Bhisma was the son of Rukman, who was the brother of Dhritaraj. Queen Gandhari of Dhritarashtra gave birth to 100 sons known as Kauravas. Pandu had 2 queens, Kunti and Madri. Karna was the son of Kunti from her secret marriage with Pandu. He was brought up elsewhere for fear of defamation. The 3 sons, Yudhishthir, Bhim, and Arjun, were born later on. Madri bore 2 sons, Nakul and Sahadev. The 5 sons of Pandu, that is Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev, are known as Pandavas. Suresh, I've heard that a big war was fought between the Kauravas and the Pandavas.
So just stop it here.
Okay.
This is enough. Now I have shared a chart. Okay. So if you see that chart from the group, you can just make out that how the family tree is there. Okay. So first is Dhritaraj Raja and Rukman Raja. Okay. So Dhritaraj Raja had 3 queens, Ambika Rani, Ambalika Rani, and Amba Rani. From Ambika Rani, he got Dhritarashtra, Gandhari Rani, and 100 Kaurav. So from Ambika Rani, he got Dhritarashtra, and from Gandhari Rani, so Dhritarashtra married Gandhari Rani, and they had 100 sons, Kaurava. Okay, Kaurava. And Duryodhan was, of course, the eldest of them. And from Ambilika Rani, he had one son called Pandu. Okay, and that Pandu again married, twice married. First was with Kunti Rani, and from Kunti Rani, he had 4 sons, Karna, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun. But Karna was an exception because it was a secret marriage. Secret marriage means that usually a marriage happens when there are all the great leaders of the community present over there. But this was just, they were engaged, and they were in touch of each other, and that lady got pregnant. Okay, and because of that, before marriage, the delivery of his son, whose name was Karn, was done, and then later on he officially married her, and then she bore another 3 sons, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun. So this Karna, just because not to get any bad name or defamation, so this Karna was brought up somewhere else. so that people doesn't know that he is a son of Pandu. Okay. Now the third queen, Amba Rani, he had one son, Vidur. And then Dhrutaraj Raja's brother was Rukman Raja. He had Ganga Rani. Bhishma, from Ganga Rani, a son was born called Bhishma Pitama. Okay. And Pandu had another marriage with Madri Rani, and she bore two sons, Nakul and Sadev. Okay. So this way the whole family was there, and this was all explained in the two chapters that, two paragraphs that she read just now. Okay. So the actual story starts from who were these Pandavas. Before that, there is a small conversation between two friends, Ramesh and Suresh, and they were betting money, and that is called gambling. And the teacher warned them that you should never do this. Okay. And he also cited the example of Pandav, and he said that because of this bad addiction, Pandavas also had to suffer many difficulties. So from there the story started. So this was just the background. Now we move on ahead on the story, and you can see that there were 4 attacks on the Pandavas. Okay. You can say there were 4 wars on the Pandavas. So the first one starts from here. I have heard that a big war was fought between Kauravas and Pandavas. So this is war number 1. Then the next page, you can see the teacher. Did I not tell you that there were mental reservation? So this is the war number 2, or the attack number 2. Then the third is on the next page, second paragraph. You just note it down, everyone. Consequently, there was a great war fought between the Kauravas and the kings present on one side, and the Pandavas on the other. This is war number 3. And in the next page, last paragraph. Teacher, yes, it was not a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas only. The whole of Bharat was entangled in it. So now you know there are 4 wars in these stories. So the first one. Now, Shashikalaji, you read.
Yes, sir. I have to read from the page 59. Suresh, I have heard that big war.
Yes, right.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
I have heard that big war was fought between the Kauravas and Pandavas. Teacher, there was tension between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. But Bhishma, Vidur and Guru Dronacharya intervened and settled the affairs. They gave half of the kingdom to the Pandavas and the other half to the Kauravas. However, the mental conflict did not come to an end. Ramesh, who was Guru Dronacharya? Teacher, you do not know about Guru. You do not know about Guru Dronacharya. He was a descendant of the Bhargava dynasty and a clever teacher. He taught archery to the Kauravas and the Pandavas. His son Ashwatthama was as clever an archer as his father. Suresh, why was there a war when a compromise was arrived at? Teacher, did I not tell you that there were mental reservations? Once when the Pandavas were sleeping in their palace, the Kauravas set fire to it. Ramesh, this was very bad. Did the Pandavas perish in the fire? Teacher, no. Here, the Kauravas did a great wrong. Such a violent tendencies destroy the country and the community. The Pandavas saved their lives by getting away out of that tunnel. But people believed that the Pandavas had perished. The Kauravas, though defamed, were happy. The tendency of the cruel is to take delight in violence. That is most important. Ramesh, where did the Pandavas go then? First, teacher, For some time, they remained in secret confinement and later reached Makhandi, that is, the capital of King Draupad. The Swayambar of the daughter of the king Draupad was being celebrated there. It was declared that whosoever was successful in archery will wed Draupadi. The Kauravas led by Duryodhan were also present, but could not place the arch in the bow successfully. At last, Arjun did it very easily, and Draupadi offered the marriage garland to him. Ramesh, I have heard that Draupadi was married to all the 5 Pandavas. No, teacher, no. Draupadi was a great sati. She garlanded Arjun only. She regarded Yudhishthir and Bhim as her father, they being older than Arjun, and Nakul and Sagadeva as equal to her sons, they being younger than Arjun. Suresh, then why do people say so? Teacher, when Draupadi was garlanding Arjun, the thread of the garland was broken and some flowers fell on the rest of the 4 Pandavas. Those who were jealous of the Pandavas and were disappointed started the scandal that Draupadi had accepted all the 5 Pandavas as her husbands. The Pandavas were disguised as Brahmins. The kings present there and the Kauravas, including Duryodhan, could not recognize them. Duryodhan could not tolerate that an ordinarily Brahmin should win the hand of Draupadi in their presence. He invited all the kings present, telling that it was a great insult to them that an ordinary Brahmin should win Draupadi. Consequently, there was a great war fought between the Kauravas and the kings.
Bus. So
Okay,
let's first understand the first 2 wars and then we'll move on to the 3rd war. Okay. So the first war was between Kauravas and Pandavas, and it was intervened by the Bhishma, the cousin of Pandu, and Vidur, the son of Ambarani, the 3rd Rani, and Guru Dronacharya. So Guru Dronacharya was Guru of even Pandavas and Kauravas both, and it was he who taught them the skill of bow and arrow, like archery. Okay, and his son Aswathama was also a very clever archer as his father. So why there was a war when a compromise was arrived at? Okay. So now the war number 2 comes up. Did I not tell you that there were mental reservation? Okay. Because of the intervention of these great people, Bhishma, Vidur and Guru Dronacharya, the matter was settled, but and the kingdom was divided. Half was given to Pandavas and other half to Kauravas. However, the mental conflict that didn't come to end, and they were having this feeling of hatred among themselves. The war number 2 coming up. So there was mental reservations. Once when the Pandavas were sleeping in their palace, the Kauravas set fire to it. Why they set fire to it? Because they had an enmity in their mind with the Pandavas in spite of them being their brother only. But because for the sake of land, they were enemies to each other, and the Kauravas set the Pandavas on fire when they were sleeping in the palace. So what happened after that? The Pandavas saved their lives by getting a way out of a tunnel. There was a tunnel there, and from their tunnel they escaped. The Kauravas were defamed, everybody said that you are killing your own brother and all this and that. But the Kauravas were internally very happy because they wanted these people to perish so that they can have the full kingdom with them. So this line is very important. The tendency of the cruel is to take delight in violence. Okay. So if you take delight in violence, okay, That means हिंसा नंदी. हिंसा में आनंद मानना is रौद्र ध्यान. Okay. So the tendency of the cruel is to take delight in violence. Where did the Pandavas go then? For some time they remained in secret confinement and later reached Makandi, the capital of King Drupad. And at that time there was a Swayamvar was going on. What do you know about Swayamvar? In the olden days, there used to be a Swayamvar where the daughter of the king used to choose the husband depending on the test given by her. So whoever is successful in that test, she marries that guy. So this Swayamvar was about who can that famous story that there was an object kept over there, and that was a fish, and everyone who are the participating kings, they have to aim at the eyes of the fish, and that fish was rotating. So it was very difficult to aim at that fish. The fish was not rotating, but it was stationary. So there were many kings, so each one tried one after the another, and nobody was able to strike at the eyes of the fish. Even the Kauravas led by Duryodhana, they also could not do it successfully. And at last Arjun did it very easily, and Draupadi was offered to him as a marriage. So while Draupadi was putting the necklace or the garland on Arjun, the string of that garland was broken, and some flowers fell on the rest of the 4 Pandavas. And because the other kings that were present there, they were very jealous because they could not conquer the daughter of that king, Draupadi. So they started this rumor that Draupadi had accepted all the 5 Pandavas as her husband. And in the story that is there in this Lockic story, it shows also that Draupadi had 5 husbands, but in reality, they were not their husbands, and Draupadi treated the elder one as their father and the younger ones as their son, and he was a sati. So there is no question of her married to 5 Pandavas. The Pandavas at that point of time were disguised as Brahmins. The kings present there and the Kauravas, including Duryodhana, could not recognize them. And Duryodhana and all, they thought that the Pandavas had died. So Duryodhana could not tolerate that an ordinary Brahmin should win the hand of Draupadi in their presence. He invited all the kings present there to instigated those to have a war with these Brahmins. And that is how the 3rd war came up. And now we will read about the 3rd war, only the 3rd war, and then we will move on to the 4th war. So again, Jinali ji, you read the from there. Consequently, there was a great war fought between the Kauravas. Yeah, Jinali ji.
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah. Consequently, there was a great war. Page number.
Consequently, there was a great war fought between the Kauravas and the kings present on one side and the Pandavas on the other. When no archer could stand against Arjun in archery, Guru Dronacharya came to fight with him. Arjun was all humility, seeing his guru before him. He saluted him with an arc and sent his introduction to him thereby. Guru Dronacharya was very happy to know that Pandavas were alive and informed all about this. Once again, Guru Dronacharya and Bhisma Pitama brought the Pandavas and the Kauravas together. They accepted half the kingdom each and began to live in Hastinapur. Suresh, sir, you told us that Pandavas indulged in gambling. That part of the story remains untold. Teacher, yes, one day Duryodhana and Yudhishthir started the game of the die. Yudhishthir pledged his kingdom for 12 years. Duryodhan was won the game fully, and the Pandavas had to leave their kingdom for 12 years and go in unknown exile. It was therefore being said that it is a great evil to pledge money or possessions, that is, to gamble. Those who are after the welfare of their soul should never indulge in such practices. Great stalwarts and those destined to achieve godhood from the present life, like Yudhishthir and others, had to face untold difficulties on account of this evil. Ramesh, where did they live during these 12 years? They did not stay at one place. They wandered from one place to another in disguise. I've heard that Bhim was very strong and had punished Kichak. Teacher, yes, this happened during the 12-year exile. When the Pandavas reached Viratnagar, they began to serve King Virat in different capacities in disguise. Yudhishthir became a pandit, Bhim a cook, Arjun a dancing lady, and Nakul and Sahadev in charge of the stable of the king. Draupadi became a garden woman. Sudarshana was the queen of King Virat. Her brother was Kichak. He regarded Draupadi as an ordinary garden woman and tried to entrap her by many temptations. Draupadi disclosed this to Bhim, who in turn asked her to fix the place and time of her meeting with Kichak, who he thought must be punished for his evil intentions. Ramesh, what next? Draupadi fixed the time and place of her meeting with him. Bhim reached there beforehand, putting on the clothes of Draupadi. When Kichak, infuriated with love, reached there, he was happy to find Draupadi and began to converse with her with affection. He was, however, placed in great distress when his affectionate addresses were returned with smashes of the powerful hands of Bhim. He tried to face Bhim but was badly defeated and beaten severely. Kind Bhim gave him a warning not to repeat such evil in future and let him free. He was, however, properly punished for the wrong done. Suresh, what happened to the Pandavas after that? They then went to their maternal uncle in Dwarika. The king of Dwarika, Vasudev, was the father of Krishna and Samudra Vijay. The father of Bhagwan Neminath were the maternal uncle of the Pandavas. They received their nephews, who were also with their sister, very affectionately and respectfully. Suresh, sir, is it right that the Pandavas and the Kauravas engaged themselves in great conflict? Yes, it was not a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas only.
Yeah, stop, because now the fourth war is going to start. So let's first clear the third war, okay? So in the third war, so that was a war that Kauravas and the king present on that Swayamvar, they were on one side and the Pandavas on the other side. And Guru Dronacharya was also there, and he also initiated the fight with the Pandavas. So when Arjun saw his Guru Dronacharya, he was quite humble and respectful to his Guru, and he saluted him with an arc and sent his introduction to him thereby. On knowing that the Pandavas were alive, Guru Dronacharya was very happy, and he informed all about this. And once again, Guru Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama brought the Pandavas and the Kauravas together. They accepted half the kingdom each and began to live in Hastinapur. One day, Duryodhana and Yudhishthir were playing that.
Just
game of dice.
one minute, ma'am. I see this, the third war, whether after that gambling happened and when they came back after 14 years, that one, huh?
So that gambling, that event took place, and Yudhishthir and Duryodhan were playing that game of dice. Yeah. So Yudhishthir pledged his kingdom for 12 years. He was losing everything, and then ultimately he pledged his kingdom for 12 years. So Duryodhan won the game deceitfully. You know, the maternal uncle of Duryodhan was Sakuni Mama, and he did some tricks to get the Pandavas defeated, and the Pandavas had to leave their kingdom for 12 years and go to an unknown exile. Why? Just because they were playing gambling. So I'll tell you the takeaways from this chapter where we can learn and what we can adapt in our life so that we also don't get this kind of sufferings. So it has therefore been said that it is a great evil to pledge money or possessions to gamble. Those who are after the welfare of their soul, those who want to make progress in the spiritual path of liberation, they should never indulge in such practices. Because if you are involved in any of the vices, you will not able to manifest right faith. Great stalwarts and those destined to achieve godhood from the present life, like Yudhishthir and others, had to face untold difficulties on account of this evil. So for these 12 years, they wandered from one place to another place, and there was one incident that happened in between. Bhim was very strong, and these Pandavas reached the Virat Nagar, village of Virat Nagar, and there they started serving King Virat in different capacities in disguise. Yudhishthir became a Pandit, Bhim a cook, Arjun a dancing lady, and Nakul and Sahadev in charge of the stable of the king. Stable of the king, you know, where the horses are kept and maintained. So they were in charge of that. Draupadi became a gardener, okay? And that's how all were serving in different capacities in King Virat's kingdom. Sudarshana was the king of King Virat, and her brothers was Kichak. Whose brother? Sudarshana's brother was Kichak. So he thought Draupadi to be an ordinary gardener, and so he tried to entrap her by many temptations. And Draupadi was a sati, so he disclosed this to Bhim, okay? And Bhim was very strong, so he said, you call this Kichak at a very secluded place, and I will fix him there. So Draupadi told him that let's meet at this place in the night. And so Kichak was very excited, and he was badly in love with Draupadi. So the Bhim was wearing the dresses of Draupadi to look as a Draupadi. So he was standing there, and it was very dark in the night. So Kichak could not see clearly who is there, but he thought that Draupadi is there, and he was very happy that Draupadi, now he will be able to enjoy the company of Draupadi. So he went nearby and he started doing conversation with Draupadi, with an intent that she will also reciprocate. But as he went near, Bhim started to attack him very badly, and he was defeated. And then Bhim gave him a warning not to repeat such evil in future and let him free. He was, however, properly punished for the wrong done. And then this Kichak realized that whatever he has done was not good, and he realized his mistake. And he also realized the nature of the worldly existence, and therefore he also renounced everything and become a monk because of this incident. So what happened to the Pandavas after that? They then went to their maternal uncle, their mama, in Dwarika. Who were their maternal uncle? One was Vasudev, father of Krishna, and the other was Samudra Vijay, father of Bhagwan Neminath, who was supposed to be the 22nd Tirthankar. Okay, so this Samudra Vijay and Vasudev were the maternal uncle of the Pandavas. Okay, they received their nephews who were also with their sister. So mother was also there of the Pandavas. So yeah, Jinalji, are you asking anything?
No, I did not ask him.
Okay. So they received their nephews who were also with their sister very affectionately and respectfully. Then the last war is coming up, and Priyanka ji, you read from there. Page number 62, last paragraph. You have the book with you? The soft copy? I think she is not there. This is though, I think, Shashikala ji. Okay, so Jinal ji, you can.
Which one you want, Sir Suresh? Sir, is it right that Pandavas and Kauravas engaged themselves in great conflict? Teacher, yes. It was not a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas only. The whole of Bharat was entangled in it. For Narayan, Sri Krishna sided with the Pandavas, and the Pranitarin Jarasan.
Prati Narayan,
correct. Prati Narayan, correct. Prati Narayan Jarasan with the Kauravas. Thus it took the shape of a great war. When Narayan Sri Krishna won the war and became the lord of the three regions, naturally the Pandavas became the supreme lords of Hastinapur. Yudhishthir was very serious by nature, just and religious in his activities, and therefore he was known as Dharmaraj, king of religion. Bhima had exceptional physical vitality and was matchless in wrestling, while Arjun was famous for his skill in archery. For many long years, they ruled and were happy. Ramesh, then, after a long period, the destruction of Dwarika in the fire shattered their faith in this life, and they became indifferent towards worldly affairs. One day, these Pandavas, with their kith and kin, went to the religious congregation of Bhagwan Neminath to offer their homage to him. They became unconcerned with earthly existence after listening to the divine message of Bhagwan Neminath. They heard that happiness does not lie in pleasures of senses. Real happiness lies in our soul. The welfare of the soul lies in understanding it and devoting it to itself, that is all consciousness, and to discard other non-self entities of the world. Worldly laws and gains are all due to merits and demerits. The welfare of the soul does not lie in them. The soul for nothing rejoices in the wake of merits and becomes unhappy in the wake of demerits. The purpose of human life is to cut oneself from the rest of the world and become self-centered. All the 5 Pandavas that very moment accepted Digambar monkhood, that is instrumental to the annihilation of the wandering of this earthly existence. Their mother Kunti and Queen Draupadi, Subhadra and others got initiated into feminine monkhood of the Digambar order by Rajul Arjika. Suresh, what then? All the 5 Pandavas saints devoted themselves to the pursuit of the soul and indulged in severe penances. One day, when they were absorbed in deep meditation on Mount Shatrunjaya, Yavarodhan, Yavarodhan, who descendant of Duryodhan. Okay. Sir, who is that Yavarodhan? Afterwards you tell. Duryodhan happened to reach there and seeing the Pandavas in the state of meditation was inflamed by anger. He thought that these same Pandavas has ruined Duryodhan and the other Kauravas and that they are harmless and without any help, and therefore he decided to take revenge upon them and teach them. Listen. He got iron ornaments heated red in fire and put them on the bodies of the Pandavas. Ramesh, alas, did he burn the Pandavas? How could he burn, teacher? How could he burn the great Pandava monks? He was himself burning in the fire of aversion. The hot iron ornaments were no doubt burning the bodies of the Pandavas, but they themselves were one with their souls and were undisturbed in the eternal peace of their sentient soul substances. The fire of meditation destroyed all their merits and demerits. Suresh, what happened next? Where are they burnt? Were they burnt? Teacher, yes, their physical frames were burnt. The 3 Pandavas, Yudhishthir, Bhim and Arjun, destroyed all the 8 karmas after adopting Shabaksheni, a very high stage of spiritual development. They attained omniscience and Siddhahood on the Shatrunjaya mountain, while Nakul and Sagadev got Sarvada Siddhi, having earned the bondage of heavenly life. They will also attain Siddhahood after the divine face of human beings. Ramesh, so Shatrunjagiri is a place of attaining Siddhahood because of 3 Pandavas attained liberation from here. Teacher, yes, it is just 18 kilometers from Songarga. We must perform a pilgrimage to this holy place and should take lessons from the lives of Pandavas. This is called Palitana. Suresh, I went to Songarga once. It is just near Bhavnagar. Suresh, I have also understood that without the pursuit of soul, worldly victories, defeats are of no avail. The real victory of the soul is that which destroys delusions, attachments, and aversions together. Ramesh, by indulgence in the addiction of gambling, the very brave Pandavas has to face countless difficulties and agonies. We should therefore not indulge in gambling. Teacher, very good. You have read a true and meaningful lesson. Resolve not to gamble or do anything by pledging money or other possessions. Suresh and Ramesh both. Yes, sir. Be resolved not to gamble or pledge money for desired achievements and shall pursue our comrades also not to indulge in such evil games.
Good. So there was the final war, the 4th one between Pandavas and Kauravas, and it was the whole Bharat was entangled in it for Narayan, Sri Krishna. So there are 3 posts which goes on simultaneously. One is Balbhadra, the second one is Narayan, and the third one is Prati Narayan. And all they exist together, and in every birth, Narayan kills the Prati Narayan. So here the Narayan was Sri Krishna, and Baldev was Balbhadra, and Jarasandha was the Prati Narayan. So Krishna killed Jarasandha. Okay. Thus, it took the shape of a great war. When Narayan Sri Krishna won the war and became the lord of the three regions, naturally, the Pandavas became the supreme lord of Hastinapur. So the Kauravas were defeated and Pandavas became the supreme lord of Hastinapur. Yudhishthir was very serious. He was the most senior most of the brothers, and he was very serious by nature, just and religious in his activities. So he was of a very good nature. And therefore, he was known as Dharmaraj, king of religion. So he was always doing right things, never did any partiality or injustice to anybody. Bhim had exceptional physical vitality, as we saw that how he defeated Kichak and taught him a lesson, and was matchless in wrestling, while Arjun was famous for his skill in archery. For many long years, they ruled and were happy. Then what happened? After a long period, the destruction of Dwarka in fire shattered their faith in this life. So they lost interest in this worldly existence, and they became indifferent towards worldly affairs. One day, these Pandavas with their kith and kin went to the religious congregation, Samosaran, of Bhagwan Neminath to offer their homage to him. They became unconcerned with earthly existence after listening to the divine message of Bhagwan Neminath. So what was there in the message of Bhagwan Neminath? First one, they heard that happiness does not lie in the pleasures of the senses. Real happiness lies in our soul. So you mark it in your books. This was the first point. The second one, the welfare of the soul lies in understanding it and devoting it to itself. That is all consciousness, and to discard other non-self entities of the world. Third one, worldly loss and gains are all due to merits and demerits. The welfare of the soul does not lie in them. Number 4, the soul for nothing rejoices in the wake of merits and becomes unhappy in the wake of demerits. Fifth and the last one, the purpose of human life is to cut oneself from the rest of the world and become self-centered. So, you know what is the message given there in the congregation. So these were the 5 points given by Bhagwan Neminath in the congregation. So all the 5 Pandavas that very moment accepted Digambar monkhood, and that is instrumental to the annihilation of the wandering of this earthly existence. Their mother Kunti and Queen Draupadi, Subhadra, and others, all other queens, they got initiated into feminine monkhood. That means they became Arjika of the Digambar order by Rajmati Rajul Arjika. So Rajul was supposed to get married with Neminath, and something happened in between while the procession of Neminath was going on, and Neminath got Vairagya there, and he returned from there and initiated into monkhood. So when Rajul came to know that Neminath had taken Diksha, he also left this worldly existence and became an Arjika in the same jungle. So all the ladies also took the vows of Arjika under Rajul Arjika. What then? All the 5 Pandava saints devoted themselves to the pursuit of the soul and indulged in severe penances. Tap mein baith gaye, dhyanast. One day when they were thus absorbed in deep meditation on Mount Sandrajay. So Satrunjay is also called Palitana. Yavrodhan, the descendant of Duryodhan, happened to reach there, and seeing the Pandavas in that state of meditation, was inflamed by anger. Why was he influenced by anger? Because these Pandavas defeated Kauravas. So he thought of taking revenge. And he thought that these people are now in meditation, so they will not fight me. He thought that these same Pandavas had ruined Duryodhana and
Sir, 1 minute. Sir, ma'am also asked for this question. Yavrodhan, the descendant of Duryodhan. So all his 400 kids. Okay, Duryodhan's son.
Yeah, thanks, Peta. Correct. Who is that?
So he is a descendant of Duryodhan. He is not the son of Duryodhan, but it is in the same dynasty only. Okay.
Okay. Some cousins or like that will be there.
Not cousin, descendant. So sons or something like that. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So he was passing there and he saw.
Your Mrs. knows that Harivamsha Purana. Ask her and tell tomorrow.
Pardon?
Your Mrs. knows means Harivamsha Purana. Let's just get up from her and tell tomorrow. I'm telling.
Okay. So he thought that these same Pandavas had ruined Duryodhana and the other Kauravas, that they are armless and without any help, and therefore decided to take revenge and teach them a lesson. He got iron ornaments heated red in fire and put them on the bodies of the Pandavas. And the monks were meditating, and they were concentrating on their self, and their body was, of course, burning with this jewelries of iron jewelries. Out of this, the three Pandavas, okay, Yudhishthir and Bhim and Arjun, these three destroyed all their 8 karmas after adopting Shapak Shreni, a very high stage of spiritual development. So this Shapak Shreni starts from 8th Gunastham, 8th, 9th, 10th, and then they jump to 12th, and they never return back, and then they attain omniscience, and then they got liberated. Okay. The other two, Nakul and Sahadev, they thought that what would have been happening on the elder brothers, and by that thought only, they didn't get liberated, and they were they bound this karma of getting a heavenly being.
So it was due to attachment, sir, right?
Yeah, attachment. So he was thinking of the welfare of the elder brothers, and because of that thought of thinking welfare of the elder brothers, the karmas were bound, and they got birth in Sarvat Siddhi, heavenly life, and very long duration of 33 sagar years. It's a very long period, and still now they are there only. So after they clear this 33 sagars over there, they will again come to this human life and become a monk, and then they will also be liberated. So Satrunja is a place of Siddha Kshetra, because 3 Pandavas attained liberation from there. It is just 18 kilometers from Songad. We must perform a pilgrimage to the holy place and should take lessons from the lives of the Pandavas. And this place of Satrunjay is also called Palitana. Suresh, I went to Songad once. It is just near Bhavnagar. I have now understood that without the pursuit of the soul, worldly victories and defeats are of no avail. The real victory of the soul is that which destroys delusions, attachments, and aversions all together. So by indulging in the addiction of gambling, the brave Pandavas had to face countless difficulties and agonies. We should therefore not indulge in gambling. So then the teacher also warned the students Suresh and Ramesh that you should not indulge in gambling and pledge money for this kind of game. And both agreed also, yes, sir, we resolve not to gamble or pledge money for desired achievements and shall persuade our comrades also not to indulge in such evil games. So this was a very interesting story. Our time is also getting over, but I will take 5 minutes of your to just highlight the main points from this chapter. First one is that we should never indulge in gambling because Pandavas had a very horrible time by indulging in this activity of gambling. The second one was that without the meditation of the self, this victory and loss doesn't matter. Okay, if you are a true Jain, then you should try to win over attachments, aversions, and delusion. That is the true victory. And in the earlier birth, these Pandavas were Yagic Brahman, okay? And they took woodens from the forest, the trees and the branches, and
Previous, but what they are? Can you repeat what they are?
they gathered trees and branches for initiating the fire.
Full
Yeah.
something you don't know name. Full name, some name you don't know.
So they were
Yagic Brahmins.
yeah, Yagic Brahmins.
Dagiya.
It's a type of Brahman community
No,
called
Dagiya. What is how to pronounce better?
Yagic.
Yagika. Okay.
Y-A-G-I-K. Yagic. Yagic Brahman. Okay, and they cut down those trees and branches for doing the havan. Okay, and those were the house of birds and other kind of small animals, and just because they destroyed their house, so the Pandavas' house was also destroyed time and again. Okay, so these Pandavas were in the earlier births, they were this Brahman, and at that time they just destroyed the houses of all the birds and animals, so their house was also destroyed by the Kauravas. Then the fourth one is Draupadi was also a Arjika 2 births ago, and he was meditating in the ground, okay, in the park, and there came a prostitute, and after that prostitute there were 5 persons who were after her, and she was wondering that how lucky is that lady that 5 people are running after him, and because of that lady was a prostitute, and just because he applauded the sinful activity, he got in this birth as Draupadi, and he was also that the garland got broken, and that some of the motis were showered on the other 4 Pandavas, and that is how he was rumored that he married all the 5, just because he did something in previous birth. So that was the fruition of that activity. So whatever you do, there is a bounding of the karmas, and that the karmas do come into fruition, and then you suffer from all these kind of adverse situations. So you should not indulge in any wrongful, sinful activities. Then coming to the life of Kichak. Kichak also got the result of his evil acts, and then subsequently he also became a monk. Then the sixth one was the three Pandavas. They kept on meditating in spite of the upsarg, and they attained moksha or the liberation. And the other two Pandavas, they got a 33 Sagaropams Ayu in the Svarg, Sarvat Siddhi. Okay. So that is the fruition of the auspicious sentiment that they reproduced. Okay. So these were all the takeaways from this chapter. And that is all about this chapter. Now we are left with one chapter that is called Bhavna Battisi. And since today many students are absent, so we are not taking up that homework that I has given. You study for one more week, and the next week we will take up this the questions on Char Abhav, finish it that one, and then we will move on to this Bhavna Battisi. And I think it will take 2 days. It's a big one, but we will see. So next Tuesday or Wednesday, your Tattvagan paper 1 will complete. And of course, after that, we will have Dash Lakshan Dharm from next Tuesday. So
Will come in Tattva Gyan 2, part 2, इसमें आएगा.
अभी नहीं आएगा. That will be after Das Lakshan Dharm. So now we will take up Das Lakshan Dharm every day during the Das Lakshan festival. That is starting
Lesson which Tattva Gyan में आएगा.
Then Tattva Gyan 2 will start after the Das Lakshan Dharm. So it starts on the 19th and from 19th to 29th. Okay. So 10 days we will be studying about the Das Lakshan Dharma, one Dharma each day. Okay. I will give you more details next week when we finish this syllabus. And I will give you 1 week's time for the concept clarity of this Tattvagyan part 1. And I'll just give you what you should do. So you have to write the concept clarity starting from 1 page to 6 page. Maximum is 6 page, minimum is 1 page, and then there will be a half page for the myth buster. Now everyone is aware of this written assignments, and I will give you just so I will give you this chapter of errors in the 7 fundamentals, the chapter 2. Okay. So you write a summary on this chapter only, nothing else. Okay. Yeah, you can write from 1 page to 6 page, and then a myth buster for half a page. So you can start from today itself, because you don't have any other homework right now. And by the time next week, we will be completing Tattvagyan 1. And then, of course, we will be starting with Das Lakshan Dharma next week. So you
Sir, 1 minute. This concept clarity, 1 to 6 pages from the chapter 2nd, chapter 7 fundamentals. Am I correct?
Yes, errors on 7 fundamentals.
Errors on 7 fundamentals.
Right.
And Mythbuster, we have to write from on anything.
No, only from this chapter, half page.
Oh, same chapter both.
Yes, by reading this chapter, what were your earlier belief and what has changed now? That you should share with practical experience. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So you can start your homework from today itself. So you will not have coding when we do Das Lakshan Dharma. Okay. So this is all. Any questions now?
No.
Okay, so we'll take a leave.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Sir, when to submit the flaws in the
This paper CC1,
Sem2s?
CC1 you are talking about?
Sir, you gave the homework no to find
That we'll discuss next week.
okay, so we are supposed to write something, right, sir? Like
So you
or
have
just
to
read it.
I don't need it. You just write it in your books. So when I spell out the correct answers, you can check your answers. And if it is wrong, you can ask again why it is wrong. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah. So now you start writing on concept clarity 1, Tattvagyan 1, and on only one chapter, chapter number 2, errors of 7 fundamentals. You can check on the recording, Priyanka ji, about this, because by the time we reach this Tattvagyan, it will be a long time. So you can catch up this semester at least from recordings. And if you click any of the recordings, you will get all the previous recordings also. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So you start writing from today itself, so that by next week you complete everything, and then next to next week we'll be doing the Lakshan Dharm, and then that concept clarity will also come. And Gandhar Mulyankan everyone has done. So that is all there. And now LCPA, I will formulate 3 questions on this Tattvagyan 1 and Das Lakshan Dharm together, and that I will give after the Das Lakshan Dharma. That's all.